방제를 우지생에서 빌랑의 wheelchair 나는 체리병 한바나의 오션이.
They were the voice of a generation, the kings of South African hip-hop, who blended Kwaito with rap, gave Township kids an anthem, and carried the culture straight into the mainstream. But behind the hits, the awards, and the fame, something darker was brewing. A secret KO kept hidden for years, until he finally revealed the truth. This is the untold story of Teargass. The rise, the cracks, the breakup, and the revelation that most fans never figured out. The story of Teargass doesn't begin in a boardroom or studio. It begins on a university campus. At Vaal Triangle Technikon in Vanderbijl Park, three young men crossed paths. Ntukza Mdluli, better known today as K.O., Eze Hanabe, who would become Ma-E, and his brother, Ntukza. They weren't just classmates, they were dreamers connected by hip-hop. What started as friendship quickly evolved into something bigger, a mission to use music as a tool for social change. In 2004, they officially formed their group. By 2005, they signed with Electromode Music, and their chosen name was more than catchy branding. It was a statement. They called themselves Teargass, inspired by the weapon used by apartheid police to silence protesting crowds. But their vision was different, to use their lyrics as a kind of sonic tear gas, to disperse the socio-economic ills plaguing South Africa: poverty, HIV/AIDS, crime. This wasn't just music, it was purpose. In 2006, Teargass dropped their debut album, Kashubile Kabovu. It wasn't just good, it was revolutionary. They fused raw hip-hop with the township bounce of Kwaito, creating a sound that was both authentic and commercial. It spoke to the youth, it filled clubs, and it gave voice to a generation searching for identity. The single, Chance, became a national anthem, nominated for Song of the Year at the SAMAS. From there, the rise was meteoric. Wafa Wafa in 2008, scooping Best Rap Album. Dark or Blue in 2009, selling 25,000 copies and going gold. A string of Metro FM and Channel O awards. And in 2011, a BET Award nomination for Best International Act, Africa. They were no longer just a group, they were a movement, the very definition of South African hip-hop at the time. But success has a way of hiding fractures. By 2012, Teargass released what would be their final album, Number. At first glance, it was another win, but the title itself, Township slang for mission, was a foreshadowing. Each member was starting to pursue their own mission. 2 years later, in 2014, fans got the shock. Teargass was going on an unofficial hiatus. Publicly, KO softened the blow. He told Sunday World, "We have decided to individually try new things, just like Mafikizolo did. We are taking a break, but it does not mean we are a dead group." To fans, it sounded like a break, but behind the scenes, it was something else entirely. Years later, KO revealed what really happened. The truth was, it wasn't an equal partnership. He confessed that he had to babysit his bandmates through the creative process. He handled the business, dealt with promoters, and learned the ropes of the industry because the group had gone broke in 2006. Out of necessity, KO became more than just a rapper. He became the manager, the businessman, the backbone. But here's the thing, not everyone shared his entrepreneurial fire. And that mismatch in ambition became the silent crack that would eventually break the group. KO was exhausted, not from the music itself, but from carrying the group. He admitted later, "I had to spare myself from the heartache and the headache of trying to manage them." Instead of dragging the others along, he stepped back. Not to betray them, but to let them grow on their own, to give them space. In his eyes, it wasn't abandonment, it was empowerment. But it also marked the beginning of the end. 2013 sealed the deal. That year, KO and Ma-E, together with executive Thabiso Kati, founded Cash Time Life, a new label. Noticeably absent, Ntukza. This was no side project, it was the final fork in the road. And when KO launched his solo career under Cash Time, the results spoke for themselves. In 2014, he dropped Skanda Republic. It debuted at #1, went platinum. Its single, Kara Kara, became the first South African rap video to hit 1 million views on YouTube. Awards poured in. Best Rap Album at the SAMAS MTV Base MC of the Year. KO had proven it. His vision and ambition were bigger than what Teargas could contain. Cash Time Life eventually collapsed in 2017, but by then KO had already moved on, launching Skanda World. Once again, he rose. He was no longer just a rapper, he was an empire builder. But what about the others? For KO, stepping back was strategic. For Ntukza, it was betrayal. In an emotional interview, Ntukza revealed he felt backstabbed and kicked out. He described waking up to hundreds of angry mentions on Twitter. Even worse, his own brother, Ma-E, blocked him on social media. The fallout wasn't just professional, it was personal. A brotherhood had been broken. And this is the part most fans never figured out. While KO was framing it as a business move, Ntukza was living it as a personal wound. Two sides of the same story. One saw necessity, the other saw betrayal. Today, talk of a reunion always comes up. Ma-E, who still collaborates with KO, openly says he'd love to reunite with his brother Ntukza. But KO, he's not so sure. He's made it clear, some things are best left in the past. A reunion, he says, would only work if the brotherhood itself was restored. Otherwise, it would just be about money, and that would lack the authenticity that made Teargas special in the first place. Think about that. The very ingredient that gave them their magic, genuine friendship, no longer exists, and without it, Teargas can never truly return. So what do we make of Teargas? Their story is not one of failure. It's a story of evolution. KO's ambition pushed him to build empires beyond the group. And Ntukza's heartbreak showed us the personal cost of that evolution. And Ma-E, he remains the bridge, caught between loyalty to his brother and loyalty to his partner. Together they changed South African hip-hop forever. But separately, they remind us of a harder truth. Sometimes the end of one journey is the only way to start another. Teargas's music still bangs in the clubs. Their lyrics still echo in the streets. But behind every beat is a story fans never fully knew. Until KO finally revealed it. The brotherhood is gone. The legacy remains. And maybe that's the real story. Not just how Teargas broke up, but how their rise, fall, and aftermath became the blueprint for South African hip-hop itself. But here's what makes Teargas's story even more powerful. Their breakup didn't erase their contribution. It amplified it. Every young rapper who blends Kasi slang with hard bars, that's Teargas's blueprint. Every hip-hop act that dreams of crossing from Township streets to international stages, they're following a trail Teargas cleared. KO proved that hip-hop could live on a bigger stage, not just as music, but as a business. He showed the game that artists could be moguls, not just performers. Ma-E held onto the spirit of collaboration, building bridges across the scene and keeping pieces of the Teargas chemistry alive in his own work. And Ntukza's story, while painful, reminds us of the cost of ambition, the sacrifices, the broken bonds, the human side behind the music. Together they represent the three sides of every group's journey: the dreamer, the builder, and the wounded heart. And maybe that's why their story still hits fans so hard today. Because it's not just about music, it's about friendship, ambition, loyalty, and loss. When fans press play on old Teargas tracks, they aren't just hearing beats, they're hearing history. They're hearing the sound of a group that dared to imagine more for South African hip-hop and actually achieved it. So whether they ever reunite or not, Teargas will always be more than a memory. They are proof that music can spark movements, break barriers, and even when it ends, leave a legacy that never dies. If you grew up with Teargas, if you still nod your head when Chance comes on, or if you've just discovered their story today, make sure you stay with us. We've got more untold stories, more legends, and more deep dives into the music that shaped us. So hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with your favorite Teargas track, and share this with someone who needs to remember the impact this group had. Because their story isn't just theirs, it's ours.